Hello, what's going on, everybody? It's Sonia and Sandra back for another episode of Twins Talk Tubi.
Hello.
And we are back here. We are in the month of May still, and we are watching Tubi Originals this month. That's the theme, Tubi Originals. Okay? So the movie that we're reviewing today is called Blind Waters. And this movie came out in 2023, and this is the premise. A perilous encounter awaits a couple on their dream vacation as they become stranded at sea, facing survival challenges posed by an unrelenting shark. And as always, we're going to start off with our first time reaction of the movie. And on the count of three, we will go. One, two, three. Okay, great. I was on the fence.
So was I. Which way?
Uh,
Oh, I was the other way, actually.
I was on the fence. The movie, so it's a basically a shark movie, just like the premise says. There's a couple on vacation and they're going scuba diving and they're out in the waters and they get stuck out there
Yeah.
and then they encounter a shark that terrorizes them and the whole thing is them trying to escape. So at first I was thinking, okay, they have so many movies just like this,
Yeah.
basically.
Like exactly, pretty much. Yeah.
Maybe differences here and there,
Right.
like why they're there, you know, I don't know.
Different things, different things
Different
they do
things
to
can
try and like
happen
get
and
away or things like that. Yeah.
yeah, so but generally, yeah, there's tons of movies like this out there.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of thinking it was kind of boring, although I thought the movie looked very well. It was filmed well,
Yeah. It was
I
it
thought.
yes, I agree.
And and I thought the acting was fairly decent as well.
Mhm.
Nothing bad in that way, but I just thought it was gonna be like cliche and boring and
Yeah.
same old. But there was
Which it was, most of it
a
was, I feel.
majority of it was, but
Yeah.
there was a little difference here. So before we kind of saw the couple on their, enjoying their vacation and going out into the waters, we
Right.
we saw a guy who was essentially kind of a crook, a killer,
Yeah, he was
he
it seemed
was
like a thief or
like a thief
scammer
kind
or
of,
some
yes,
kind of guy. Yeah.
thief scammer, but he
But he's yes.
killed people. So
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, we saw this before, and he was on a boat, and in fact, he kind of got this family. The family was looking to charter a boat to go out on the waters to fish and things, and he kind of got them to come, lured them on his
Yeah.
boat. It wasn't his boat. He just
They were trying to get on, like it was like a last minute trying to get on, and
yeah.
they went to they went to one boy and they said, no, well, if you not he asked if they have like if they're licensed to like, because they needed someone on the boat. They were gonna rent the boat essentially. So they need to have like have a scuba license and all this, like, and they didn't have it, so the guy was like, no, and then they found this other guy and the guy was like, yeah, I'll take you out.
And it ended up being this guy kind of commandeered this boat from
Right.
the original owner, and then we find out later the owner was dead in the galley
Like downstairs,
downstairs,
yeah.
and he was taking this family out. I'm assuming kind of to rob them and
Yeah,
or something, but it ended up that they were out at sea, and this shark came around
right,
and got the whole family, and then this guy escaped. He
right,
put the little tugboat, the little lifesaver boat out, and he left them.
right,
So we saw that first. And then we see this couple out there in the waters doing their scuba diving and all of that. And then the shark comes into play with them, and they are in this kind of fight to survive, essentially,
Right. All this
right?
stuff happens. The boat gets like capsized and they're stuck on top of the
The
boat.
guy gets bit, like he goes out to try and do some heroic shit and he gets
Yeah.
bitten. All that stuff happens, right?
And then the girl goes blind.
And then the
That
girl
was
was blind.
crazy. That
So,
was weird.
yeah. So this is why I was kind of on the fence because I was thinking like I don't want to say that I thought it was stupid, but I was like I guess it is kind of original. 'Cause I don't think I and
Yeah.
it can happen, right? If you get hit because she got hit in the head.
Yeah. Right.
If you get hit in the head, I mean that can happen. You can go lose your sight, or even maybe if you're here, you can lose
Right.
that
Right.
can essentially happen. But I never seen that
Yeah.
in movies like this. So I was like, okay, they're trying to
Different. It
make
was
make
different.
it a little different than the typical shark movies out there. But I was like, so they're gonna have this girl out there and she can't even and they're on a capsized boat. They're not even on the boat the way it's supposed to be. You
Right.
just I was watching the whole time. I said they could have slipped and fell a bunch of times into the water
Yeah.
the way they were on that boat. But I mean, whatever. And she's gonna be on this boat, then she can't see.
Yeah.
How is she gonna? But yeah, somehow she was still able to see the shark,
Yeah. Well, she could see
like the
like
shadow of
the
it, kind
shapes
of, or
and
the shape of it
right.
skating by and all that. Anyway,
Right.
yeah, she kind of went blind there, and then and then later, and then they get to a point where they do reach out for help, and they do get someone to hear their calls and are coming out to rescue them.
Right.
Like Coast Guard and
Yeah.
and the such, and they're coming out. They're trying to find out what their location. They find there is this area around where they are that is kind of like these rocky this rocky area where they can kind
Yeah.
of get to. But and she does get there and she's trying to pull the. I was like, first of all, you're not gonna be able to pull the boat from there.
I know.
It was really far
It
out.
was, yeah.
It's not like it was that close to the.
So I thought so yeah, so I thought the beginning up until the boat turned over and she went blind was actually going pretty good. And then from there until like basically that part when they were trying to figure out how to get to those rocks, island where those rocks are, whatever, to try and wait for help or you know, so to get out of the water. Um, that turned it around for me, like off. Because at first I thought, oh, I think it's gonna be pretty a decent shark movie, and then that whole kind of middle part was like,
There, I got turned off
I,
a little there too.
yeah, after they got on she got there and she got in touch with, Coast Guard then, but they said it's gonna take them a while to get, but she was able to get the boat where her boyfriend was, because he couldn't swim because he had the bit leg and stuff, able to get it. And as she was trying to pull, then somebody else showed up on the island. And it was the guy from the other boat that took the family out and blah, blah,
Which I
blah.
kind of forgot about by that
Right. Yes,
moment.
I forgot about him at that point too. But then when he showed up at that point, I was like, oh, this is getting a little interesting again. Like I I was kind of getting bored a little
It
bit, and
picked
then
it
that
up.
happened, and I was like, oh, so now they're gonna have to, they're gonna, at some point, they're probably gonna find out that this guy is not, because he was like helping them. And then he starts telling, because they were asking, how did you get here? And he was saying the story about he was on a boat with his sister and father and mother, and the shark got them. And he was crying, and he's like, oh, and all this stuff made like the sob story. But then obviously after a while they find out, or the girl finds out and then tells the boyfriend that this guy, he's not what he seems, and blah blah blah. So it started getting like, you know, more and more
It
interesting, like
changed it. Yeah,
what's
it
gonna
changed it
happen
up.
now?
Yeah.
Because this guy eventually, we know this guy is not gonna help them.
He's not good. Yeah.
Yeah, so now how are they gonna get out of this? And again, this girl cannot see. The guy's leg is like, you know,
True.
like chewed up and shredded up. So can't really like run and, kind of fight too much. I mean, so it got more interesting for me at that point. That's why I gave it the score I did. Other because at first I was gonna give it a thumbs up because I liked it. When it got to the end, I also liked it, but that middle part threw it off for me. That's why I gave it that. But I think it did turn around at the end. I like the way it ended. So overall, I thought it
Yeah.
was a decent
I
watch, a
mean,
decent
the
start.
very end was kind of corny, but
Yeah, but kind of leading up to
yeah, I know.
after they found, after they met up with the guy on the island and then the stuff that went on after that until like the very, very end. Yeah. I thought it was interesting and I thought it was like, kept me intrigued. Like, oh, so now he knows that they know. So what is he gonna do? And this girl's blind and what is she gonna do? And
And also, I thought it was not it wasn't realistic that she was able to stab that shark with that pole.
yeah, I mean, it was kind of like one of those exaggerated sci-fi channel movies
Yeah.
that that came into my head, which is not far-fetched because the director of this movie is also the director of the Sharknado series. So it kind of makes sense in with the corniness of it. Even though
Yeah.
I love the Sharknado movies, but anyway,
Yeah, those movies are fun.
the movie was fun. But I still, all in all, I think this was a not a terrible watch. I thought it was a decent
No, wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible at all. So, I mean, of course, it's on Tubi, so check it out. And again, the movie's called Blind Waters. And thanks for listening to our review here. We are part of the Horror Flick Chicks, and we have our videos on our YouTube channel, the Horror Flick Chicks. Make sure you follow us and subscribe to our channel. Also, like our videos, and we're on social media, guys. Make sure you check us out and follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. Check us out there. Follow our pages. And we also have a podcast with our partner in crime, Angie. We have the Heartflick Chicks podcast also here on our YouTube channel and on several audio platforms. So make sure you check us out on those things as well. We will be back next week for another review of a Tubi movie. And until then, we're signing out. It's Sonia and Sandra. In peace.
Bye.